good golfers are going to find a way to get it done. I think we overanalyze and overthink a lot of this.
I disagree because they're all great golfers.
It's the same way I felt about Phil Mickelson. I'm now more of a Phil fan, but like when he lost those U.S. Opens, it's like, man, that guy deserves to be a career Grand Slam. I mean, Rory McIlroy is a once in a generation talent, and I'm glad to see him get it done yesterday, even though it was
You know,
shaky at best.
I saw Bryson's comments about Rory not talking to him. I mean, I don't think anything about that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Golf and Politics Special Edition Masters Review. We've now slept on this incredible tournament that happened yesterday, and Rob, congratulations. You and many other people picked Rory McIlroy in our contest, and he won that golf tournament yesterday. And you can say what you want about it. At the end of the day, he showed amazing grit and made one of the best shots under pressure that I've ever seen on the first playoff hole.
Yeah, it's the first time in several years that I felt like Rory was coming into the Masters sharp. Winning at the Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass. I mean, your game really needs to be sharp. He won at Bay Hill. And so I just had a good feeling about this year. I haven't picked him the last several years, but I just felt like he was really, on the money coming into this and hungry. And I think that's, I've never seen anybody make 4 double bogeys and win a major championship. I think Craig Stadler made 3 when he won the Masters. But really just a great, resilient tournament. I mean, he had 2 bad doubles coming in on Thursday. He made up for it on Friday. Goes low Saturday, then on Sunday. I mean, just the back and forth. I remember there are 2 rounds of golf in pro golf history where I remember every single one of their shots. I remember every single shot Tiger hit in 2019 at the Masters, and I remember all 73 shots in my head Rory hit yesterday. And the reason I say that is out of those 73 shots, 17 of them were terrible. And I can't think of many rounds I play where I can count 17 terrible shots. I mean, starting with the tee shot on 1 yesterday, a bad wedge shot to the back of the green, a horrendous 3-putt, his little 90-yard wedge shot in on 2 that he kinda chunk pulled, to say nothing of arguably the worst wedge shot I've ever seen in professional golf, his approach on 13 after laying up, which made no sense. And then the wedge shot on 18, which was not quite as bad, but almost as bad. So to like continuously come back from that and win was just stunning. I mean, absolutely remarkable that he did that. Kudos to Justin Rose for a gritty 67 yesterday, I think. I think he had 67 maybe, to get him
66.
66 to
And
get into
truthfully,
that
missed
play.
a short putt on 17. I mean, 17 was a bad bogey for Justin Rose. But he was playing some golf yesterday, that's for sure. I mean, it just kind of makes you look back at Saturday too, where Justin Rose could not make a putt to save his life and ends up shooting 75. Kind of plays the round on Saturday that Bryson played yesterday, and really put himself just enough outside that one bad round on Saturday put him outside of the opportunity to probably win that thing outright.
Yeah, and I thought, I actually want to show you my text exchange with Mike McGettrick yesterday morning because he was at the Masters, and he asked me who I thought would win out of the final 2, thinking that was the only 2. And I said I wouldn't be surprised no matter what happened, but I felt like Rory's game tee to green was more sharp this week than Bryson's. I felt like Bryson was kind of hanging in there with like remarkable putts and a great short game, but at Augusta, you really need to make it easier on yourself. And I just didn't think Bryson was going to be as sharp, and he wasn't. I just saw him in an interview where he said he was struggling with the slopes, like uphill lies, downhill lies, side hill lies, and his swing was just a little bit off. but Rory kept him in it. Rory kept the field in it with stupid mistakes. So it doesn't matter now because he got it done when it mattered. But tee to green, I mean, just so sharp until yesterday and just kind of gritted it out.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. And Bryson, in his post-round interviews, said on 15 that he just wanted to cry for Rory. I mean, these guys aren't close. They're not personally close. In fact, Bryson said they didn't say a word to each other the entire time. And Bryson clearly just knew he didn't have his game to win. And he's like watching Rory implode and give the Masters away on 15. He said, I just wanted to cry for him. Like, what on earth is going on here? Like, I think the whole world, even if you're not Rory's not my favorite golfer on tour, but even me, I'm sitting there like, you got to get this thing done, man. For the game of golf, like, you are somebody that should be a career Grand Slam winner. You know, it's the same way I felt about Phil Mickelson. I'm now more of a Phil fan, but like when he lost those U.S. Opens, it's like, man, that guy deserves to be a career Grand Slam. I mean, Rory McIlroy is a once in a generation talent, and I'm glad to see him get it done yesterday, even though it was
You know,
shaky at best.
I saw Bryson's comments about Rory not talking to him. I mean, I don't think anything about that because
Oh no, I don't think he
everybody
said it with any disdain or
every
anything like that.
everybody's different on the course.
Yeah,
There are, Bryson's more of a Lee Trevino, Chichi Rodriguez kind of guy
sure.
where camaraderie and fan engagement and tournament play is part of his personality. It's part of his thing. It doesn't mean it's wrong. Tony Finau said the same thing about Tiger in 2019, where he's like, Tiger said nothing to me all day. On the 16th tee, I asked him how his kids are, and Tiger said fine. And that was the only thing he said to him all day. And it's because different people approach tournament play in different ways. And Rory's more of a traditional laser focused guy. What really, and this is fitting for our show, what really has bothered me over the last 4 years is just how political golf has become. And it's like, I can almost guarantee you, based upon how you vote for president and how, uh, what you listen to in podcasts, like if you're part of the manosphere and this new masculinity craze, then you probably like live golf. You probably vote for Donald Trump. You probably hate Rory McIlroy, and you probably love Bryson DeChambeau. Like it's eerie how that tracks. With Rory, like I don't understand how anybody could not like this guy. Like I think coming from Northern Ireland, small town, family sacrificed everything for him to get where he is. I mean, you'll disagree with this next statement, but like when things were going to shit between the tour and live, Rory is the guy that actually didn't take the Saudi money and tried to do the right thing and stood with Tiger and stood with the tour. Now, Jay Monahan went and embarrassed the shit out of him and all of us who stood up for the PGA Tour in that deal. So Jay Monahan can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. But Rory did the right thing in my view. And cost himself hundreds of millions of dollars and stuck to his guns. And I think that when history looks back at these last 5 years, you know, I don't watch live. I'll go to the tournament that's going to be at my course this year. I don't think I've ever been able to sit through more than 5 minutes of it. I don't even know how to watch it. But I understand there are people who like it. Good for you. But if this thing ends up merging, and it needs to, down the road, it's not going to be because Greg Norman fixed golf. Like Greg Norman's now out of the picture. He failed. It's going to be because somebody else comes in and rescues this deal. It may be Donald Trump. It may be Rory McIlroy and Tiger Woods. It may be another American billionaire. But there is no doubt in my mind that over the last 5 years, this disruption has made a few people a lot of money. And for the rest of us, it's made Sundays a hell of a lot less entertaining because all of the best players in the world aren't on the same course. Yesterday, we got that. We got to see Scotty Scheffler, Oberg, Rory, uh, DeChambeau. We got to see the best in the game on the leaderboard on Sunday. We should have that like every other Sunday, like we used to.
Sure, sure.
And I think that it's easy. I know the argument that the disruptor community, we want to say. And as somebody who's invested in tech companies and wants to vomit every time I hear the buzzword synergy and disruption and this, that, and the other, any idiot can disrupt something. Any idiot can break something. It takes leadership and courage to put it back together. They've got to figure out a way to put it back together. And you might be able to say for years from now, well, if it wasn't for Greg Norman and Liv breaking it, they never would have gotten better. Okay, that may be true, but that's still TBD. What they broke it, now it's time for the adults to come in the room and fix it and get these guys playing together on better courses in bigger tournaments, even if it's twice a month. And great, let's do it. But it's 4 times a year isn't enough. And it's because of this political bullshit that this has turned into.
I agree. I mean, in here, the bigger picture for me is not even whether they play together every Sunday, because I don't know how much the appetite is for 20, 25 major tournaments a year, right? I mean, you get invested in the Masters, you get invested in the PGA, the US Open, the British Open. My bigger thing is official world golf rate. The official world golf rating is total bullshit. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You know, Bryson DeChambeau is not the 19th best player in the world. John Rahm is not the 74th best player in the world. Let's get a grip on that and just have a fair way of judging who the best players are.
The fair way to do it is for Liv to play 4-round tournaments.
That's fine. I mean, look, if that's the case, if they would come out and say, hey, if you play 4-round tournaments, we'll give you official world golf rating.
Totally.
They would do it in a heartbeat. But, like, that's not the case. There's bigger egos get in the way, is what I'm convinced of. And I think I would push back on your idea that this is all political. I mean, think about yesterday in our text thread. Your vice captain on the Democratic team was cheering for Bryson, and my vice captain can't stand Bryson DeChambeau, can't stand Liv, who is one of the more conservative Republicans I know. Golf is golf. I do think there are
anecdotes. I would say generally speaking, most Liv
maybe
fans tend to be more pro-Trump and would call Rory a beta cuck.
I know. I would say, like, here's my view, and I'm not going to comment on everybody else's view. I'm talking about my view. I respect and love everybody that's on the professional circuit that plays golf. Like, unless you're just an absolute clown, which there are very few, because you don't make it to that level of golf being a clown. I can respect Rory McIlroy, and he's not my favorite player. And the reason he's not my favorite player is a lot of the reason the way he treated Phil Mickelson and others. And the truth is, like, I felt like Roy was not balanced in his comments there. Like, and it's not me saying I dislike the guy. It's just saying, he's not my favorite. I can still respect the heck out of his game and be excited for him winning. That's the great thing about golf. It's not like if the Steelers lost to the Browns, I'm disgusted that we lost to the Browns.
So
if my favorite golfer doesn't win a golf tournament, I'm not disgusted by it. I'm amazed at the other great golf that was being played that weekend.
Well, that's big of you. But let's take a look at Rory through this lens. All the things you love about Bryson DeChambeau and Donald Trump, you could say similar things about Rory. He's not a programmed, politically correct.
Yeah, I don't dislike Rory. I don't dislike him. Like, that's the thing. Like,
he says what's on his mind.
I like all these guys. They all bring something different to the game. Like, I even like Patrick Reed. I think Patrick Reed has a heck of a short game, and I will always when you mention Patrick Reed, it's not going to be little scandals here and there that people bring up. When I hear Patrick Reed, I think of the greatest Ryder Cup match probably in history between him and Rory, where it was a true heavyweight fight, which was ultimately what I wanted to see yesterday, was something like that we saw in the Ryder Cup when Rory and Patrick Reed went at it. I wanted to see Rory and Bryson trading blows yesterday, and it ended up being a completely different storyline that I don't think any of us expected, where really Rory made too many major mistakes and Bryson played terribly and allowed Justin Rose back into that event. You know, it was fascinating the way it played out, but I don't think that any of us thought, maybe you did, but I didn't think it was going to play out that way. I thought you were going to see Bryson go out and shoot 68, 69, and you're going to see Rory go out and shoot 68, 69, and it was going to come down the stretch between those two guys trading blows in amen corner.
Look, I think Bryson's a great player. I think he's going to eventually win a Masters. I think he's eventually probably going to win the Grand Slam. I think he's that good. But just from what I saw the last 3 days, we all know with golf, from one week to the next, you or I could look like a really good amateur player and then go out and just take a dump and fall backwards in it.
Yeah.
Like from what I saw from Bryson on Saturday and Friday, he didn't look sharp. I'm not saying he's a bad golfer. He's a
No, he did
great
not. He did not look
he's a
sharp
great
at all.
he's a great golfer, but you you can't sustain it over 4 days when you're relying on 35-foot birdie putts on the last hole or holing out from somewhere. Like he would tell you that himself.
Oh,
Like
he got caught on the hot mic, I think on 13, and he just told. I mean, it was like loud as can be. I thought on CBS where he just told his caddy, he's like, "I'm just not playing well today." I mean, it was just, and we've all been there. We've all been in those situations where you just can't seem to make it happen, no matter how hard you try. It's just not there. He was overhooking his irons. His distance control was off, and then finally the putter let him down. I mean, the putter was what kept him in the tournament until Sunday.
I've
And
always
it just wasn't
I've
there.
always I've wondered this over the last couple years, and I know they're tour pros and they've all won, and some of the live guys have won majors since live came about. But this is a serious question. Live LIV is the Roman numeral for 54. So meaning 3 rounds. And part of the appeal to guys to go over to live beyond the money was that we're only going to play 3 rounds. You don't have to be here all week and do all this charity stuff. You're going to play Friday, Saturday, Sunday, once a month, maybe twice a month. I don't know what their schedule is. But that was part of the appeal, to get more money to play less. And so I just know for myself, like when I haven't played in a while, playing in a 2-day tournament or 3-day tournament is an adjustment. Playing in a 4-day event, which I do once a year, really is an adjustment because you're adding in a practice round or two on top of that. It's a much longer, more grueling stretch. And I know you're going to say they're great athletes. Yes, they're great athletes, but it's more the mental, like getting in that zone for a full week. Like I've wondered if that has had an adverse effect on some of the live guys.
I don't. I mean, if you look at the stat, I mean, Patrick Reed's been playing a lot on the Asian tour, I believe. So, I mean, he's been playing a lot of 4-day tournaments over there outside of live because he wants those world rating points to be able to make it to the majors. Some of the other live guys are doing that as well. Joaquin Niemann's been doing that quite a bit. Um, look at Bryson's record in the majors last year. I mean, he was top 10 at the Masters. He was second at the PGA. He won the U.S. Open. He's gonna need to. He's admittedly saying he's got to figure some things out for a windy Open Championship because his game with 190 ball speed and relying on curving the ball so much is just not going to work when the wind's blowing 40. So I kind of don't even think about that. But I mean, his major championship record now is pretty good, like 4 in a row, really in the top 10 outside of the links course. Patrick Reed's now had a third and a second since joining live the Masters. Phil's had a second. I mean, Bubba Watson, Bubba Watson got relegated off of live last year. Bubba Watson finished in the top 20 yesterday. John Rahm shot under par both rounds on the weekend. Like, I think good golfers are going to find a way to get it done. I think we overanalyze and overthink a lot of this.
I disagree because they're all great golfers. So
Yeah.
like if Tiger Woods, the reason why he struggled at the Masters besides his health over the last 6 years, besides his health, is that he hasn't been able to play enough tournaments in advance of the Masters to get tournament reps in. And so 4 rounds is the measuring stick. That is the barometer we have always used. Anybody can go out and have a great one day.
Sure.
You might be able to go out and have a fluke 2 times. But as you add that 3rd round and that 4th round, boy, that really starts to separate who's sharp and who isn't. And so if you're not playing enough tournament golf, like Tiger calls what he does in Jupiter hit and giggles.
Right.
We all go play hit and giggles. But I notice it in our member event every October that used to take 5 hours to play. because you now have like 140 people golfing who have not had to putt inside 3 feet all year. And so now you get all these amateur golfers lining up 3 footers all day and making sure their tee is behind the marker and making sure that they're doing everything right. Whereas when you're just playing hit and giggles, you're not doing that. And so like I've played hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of tournaments since I was a kid. If I don't do it for 6 months or a year, or I don't do it often, the nerves are a little bit different. You're a little out of sorts. So it's not one of those things that just because you're a good athlete or a good player will make up for that, maybe occasionally, but because you're playing against everyone else in the field who also is long, strikes it perfectly, can chip, can putt, has a great short game. You really have to be sharp and in that zone. And if you're not, like Scotty Scheffler, my man just shot 8 under or whatever the hell he shot, I don't know, but he was probably top 10 with his
He's fourth.
C minus game. Like, so if you're not sharp, even if you're the best player in the world, you're not going to win out there. Like the only person good enough to do that for a period of time was Tiger. But you got to be sharp. And so I agree with you that, these guys have all done it before. They're all great players. They're all great athletes, but I do not discount the importance of playing a lot of events over 4 days. They get on property Tuesday. So they're playing practice rounds Tuesday, Wednesday, and then serious tournaments Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday under pressure. Like, if you're not doing that regularly, it's a disadvantage.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. I mean, ultimately we got to get this figured out. Like, there are some benefit. What live, in my opinion, if the perfect world is that bring these guys back together, have a united tour, have live as this special thing that happens during football season when nobody else wants to pay attention to golf, like after the tour championship, after the FedEx Cup. Go play around the world and do some big events, like grow the game in Singapore, grow the game in Korea, like have the event in Spain, have the event in Australia that they love. Don't, let's keep the tour unified. I would love to see these guys back. I agree. I think everybody would like to see them playing, together more often. And you might be right. Maybe that is the case for some of these guys, that they need more 4-day rounds to be dialed in for the majors. But I want to bring up two more points quickly. Tiger Woods used to measure what he called I don't know if he called it this, but it's been phrased the Tiger Five. And these are mistakes that you don't want to make on the golf course. You don't want to make bogeys on par fives. You don't want to make double bogeys. You don't want to three putt. You don't want to make bogeys from 150 yards out in the fairway, and you don't want to miss easy up and downs. Tiger used to say that if he had 6 or less of those mistakes over a 4-day tournament, he would win. You could argue that Rory had 6 of those yesterday and still won the golf tournament, which is fascinating. First time in history, 4 double bogeys for the week, and he still won the tournament. Craig Stadler, I believe, in the early 80s had 3 double bogeys. So, I mean, I think that's you talk about guys that can win without their A game. Rory didn't have his A game. At moments, he had flashes of unbelievable greatness like we've never seen before. But then he would turn around and do something so incredibly off character for a professional golfer. It was mind blowing.
Well, he made a great point last night in one of his interviews I saw that he was lucky all week. And he said, I don't feel bad for being lucky all week because
No,
I feel
never feel bad for that.
because he said he's felt unlucky so many years before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he got a lucky break that his approach shot on 11 didn't go in the water. I don't know how that didn't go in the water. Like that bank is shaved. It is firm. Like if you get on the left third of that green, it's going in the water. Um, so he got lucky there. And then he said throughout the week, um, every time he hit it in the pine straw, he somehow had a gap. He somehow had a shot. And in years past, he would be stymied or have to push out. So, like, yeah, that definitely played in his favor this week. Rather
But
be
that but
lucky than
that's golf. That's golf. We're
that's
gonna
that.
every time you play, you're gonna have bad luck and you're gonna have good luck. It is
Well,
what it is, and it evens out over time.
and he also got lucky that, I mean, he didn't get lucky from Justin Rose because Justin Rose busted his ass to shoot 66 to get into that
And hit
playoff.
2 great shots in the playoff and damn
But
near made that putt.
Rory got lucky. You could argue another way that Oberg was a little bit off. Uh, Scotty was a little off. Bryson was a little off. You know, ordinarily, like if you catch a day where you make a bunch of mistakes, and oh, by the way, 3 of the other best players in the world are just a little bit off, like it's your day. And like, but he doesn't need to apologize. He still won. He played great. And, I think it's good for the game of golf. And I think no matter what Rory does from here forward, like his place in history is cemented. He's one of 6 guys to win the career Grand Slam. I don't think he has to do anything else. I mean, what's next is he could try to win a Grand Slam. I think Quail Hollow is uniquely fit
He loves that golf course.
for Rory
I mean,
McIlroy.
look, if anybody's gonna do it, I think you and I talked about this offline last night. I think that this is a guy that could go on. He's 35 years old. And we're seeing now, like, if you even look at a guy like Phil Mickelson, I know Phil missed the cut, but Phil's been playing pretty good golf. And Phil's in the best shape of his life because for years in his 30s and 40s, he didn't take care of his body. And then now he won a major at 51. And he came in second at the Masters at age 52. Like, this is a guy that still can compete. Like, I'm still holding out hope that he can somehow win a U.S. Open. I don't think that that's probably going to happen, but I can still hold out hope. Rory's got another 15 years, as long as there's not a crazy injury or anything else, that he can play golf. This is a guy that can win a lot more majors. I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't surprise me at all for him to win multiple majors, multiple years between now and his 50th birthday. So, I mean, he's got 5 now. I could see him getting to 10, which is just unbelievable rarefied air. I mean, I could see him even going more than that. I also
Yeah.
can see, like, I want to talk about some of my great top 5 takeaways from this weekend, and you can too. And one of them is I think there are so many talented golfers out there right now that can win multiple more majors. I think Justin Rose is coming to his own at 44. I think he's going to be a threat. He's now finished second at the Open Championship, second at the Masters, back to back. I think Bryson has all the talent in the world, can win. Scotty Scheffler is, like you said, he had his C game and still finished fourth. Ludwig, that dude hits missiles. I mean, he just kept finding ways, and ultimately on 18, I think he made a triple bogey. He kind of fell apart, but I mean, that dude is a golfer. I mean, he just gets up and hits missiles that don't vary at all. It's just right at the pin. It's crazy. Xander Schauffele is coming off an injury. He's playing great. Don't people say John Rahm like lost it when he went to live? I don't believe that in a second. Last year he was hurt at the Open Championship. He finished 7th. He played good on the weekend. He's played really dominant on live. Like the guy still can golf. I mean, you can go on Max Homa, who's been playing terrible, finished in the top 10 yesterday, or I think 12th, but 5 under par and earned an exemption back for next year. So I mean, I think the game of golf is healthy, and I probably, because of the live PGA split, I think it's easy for all of us, including myself, to say, oh, these guys have their heads up their asses. They need to come together and play better. There's so many good golfers. The game of golf is just fine. We're going to see exciting major championships the rest of this year. My big desire is that certain guys that are really good don't get overlooked because of the world ranking system that's broken right now. And I want to see an amazing major championships. I want to see an amazing Ryder Cup this year.
I mean, we love storylines in golf. And look, I know I tease you guys on the thread about Bryson and Rosie. I love Rosie. I like Bryson. I like busting your balls because I know how much you love Bryson. But like, I don't hate the guy. But the thing that's good about Bryson and the thing that's good about Rory is, in pro wrestling they say, getting heat. Like getting heat is good.
Yeah,
If you're not getting heat, that means you're not making a difference.
that's right.
So it's like, I think the fact that there are Bryson haters and Rory haters is good because it helps build the storyline for like, we're all going to remember this Masters
That's right.
like we remember the 2019 Masters. And so I think the number of great golfers in the world is healthy, but I think we're missing an opportunity, as we both agree, to get these guys together every week or twice a month so that this isn't a once every 5 years type Sunday showdown. Because, I mean, just looking at that leaderboard alone, we've got another 5 to 10 years of just killer weekends in
Yeah,
golf. Like, the one thing I would add on a takeaway is, um, how great of a venue. I mean, this is the easiest layup of a take ever, is Augusta National. Like, great, this is my point. Great golf courses and great venues elevate these things to
that's
the
right.
next level. And, it's what I've been bitching about on the PGA Tour for a long time, is like, I'm sick and tired of them playing the TPC Moon Basin and wherever, or the TPC Bumblefuck, and where you like, like, we have some of the greatest golf courses in the world here in the United States. We should be having the best players playing them. And I agree, we have great golf courses all over the world. Let's showcase them,
I
because
agree.
great golf courses showcase great shots and they showcase great matches. And nobody likes seeing the winning score be -32. It's boring. I don't wanna see these guys hit pitch and putts. I wanna see them have to really get creative and show us how good they are. I don't want to embarrass them. I don't want it to be
Which sometimes
unfair.
the USGA has a tendency to do. I think they can
Yeah,
embarrass the best
which
players in the world. I think
we're
Augusta National is the perfect test of golf in so many ways.
and the other reason why Augusta is so great is because it's there every year.
Yeah.
And we all know every shot, whether you've played it or not. Like, we all know how putts break. We all know where to hit it and where not to hit it. And I think the US Open, this is a hot take, but I think major golf would be better if the US Open was at the same course every year. I think the US Open should be at Pebble Beach or Oakmont every year. I think the Open Championship should be at the Old Course St. Andrews every year. And then the PGA Championship can rotate, because nobody really gives a shit about the PGA Championship. That one can rotate.
Which it should be
But
at Southern Hills at least every 5 years.
yeah,
And
okay, I'll give
and
you
and I will tell you this: the PGA Championship is the best field, and it's the deepest field every
yeah.
year. I mean, you
And
win the
there's
PGA, you're beating the best of the best. There's nobody left out of it,
and
in my opinion.
I thought the PGA Championship at Southern Hills was awesome because it was at a great venue.
Right.
Like, I don't want to see it played at Erin Hills. I just don't. It's not a great venue. I don't care what anybody says. It's the most overrated course I've ever seen make a top 100 list. Like, the fact that that course has hosted a US Open blows my mind. Chambers Bay. I actually like that course. But is it the US putting our best foot forward? Arguably not. Um, I get the message of wanting to play munis. The same could be said for Torrey Pines. Like, I think that what makes the Masters so great is the tradition of it every year. We're all bought in. We're all watching every
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't get that when you host the US Open at Chambers Bay or Erin Hills.
Well, let's give a shout out to the membership of Augusta National Golf Club. I mean, they every year they are competing against the year before. It's the greatest golf tournament in the world, and so the only way you improve is to look at you're competing with yourself. What did we do in 2024? And they even made it better in 2025. And one thing that I will tell you that just looks incredible, and I think that we need more things like this in our culture, that the spectators didn't have their phones.
Yeah.
I think the more we can have events with no phones is better. It just and I get, like, we all do it, whatever, where I'm at a concert, I'm taking video because I can, it's right there. But it would be better sometimes, I think, to just have that phone not with you. And I love the fact that you're watching that tournament and everybody's dialed in because they're not distracted. And the roars that come when they change the scoreboard, that's to me is what's incredible.
Yeah, that's something I've changed my position on, is like the first couple times I went to the Masters, I was like, "Oh man, I wish I had my phone so I could take pictures and flex on Instagram and share this, or innocently share this with friends and family because it's special." And now I appreciate the being in the moment more.
Yeah.
Like, just really remember it, take it all in, and do that. And then, when I got to go there and play, You're allowed to take pictures and videos on the course, which we did a lot the first time through. I think if I ever have the privilege to do it again, I probably won't do that as much. I think I'll probably, you
It's
know,
hard to improve on the videos and photos that you already have.
yeah, yeah. But the other thing that I changed my opinion on yesterday with an open mind is one of my beefs with being a spectator, a patron at the Masters is like I got used to other events where you would have big screens everywhere and you could see what was going on other holes, or they had electronic scoreboards. And when you watch the Masters in person, you don't know what's going on in other holes. You're guessing based upon the size of the roar. And a lot of the holes are on top of each other, which a lot of people don't know. And I would be nervous playing it. Like I'd really have to focus because no matter when you're hitting, you can hear clapping and cheering like around the clock. So it's tough to dial in and focus, but I loved CBS's coverage yesterday of showing the galleries on different holes when they would update the old Wrigley Field style scoreboards, like the groans or the cheers. And there's that level of old school anticipation and being in the dark that kind of elevates the experience because you don't know what's going on other than guessing on groans and cheers from the crowd on different holes. Like you could tell a tiger roar versus a roar for anybody else. Um, but you're really in the dark. So like I never want to go to the Masters on Sunday because I feel like you do miss a lot of the history and the little details that you get on TV. But I do love going on Thursday or Friday or Saturday to like, take it in person. But, on Sunday, you really do get more out of it watching it on
Oh
TV.
yeah, I was that way even when I lived in Columbus, for instance, outside of Columbus. I go to the Memorial almost every year. I never would go on Sundays because watching on TV on Sunday afternoon is so much better experience in my opinion. The party atmosphere of Thursday, Friday, where you're walking around and connecting with people and having a few drinks, that's great. I love it. But on Sunday when it's on the line, I want to see the coverage. And that's another one of my takeaways. CBS. I mean, they just do such a good job. My only complaint is I'd rather hear a little more Colton Oast on-course commentary. I think he's the best in the business. That he gets kind of relegated to the JV team and does the streaming stuff during the weekend coverage. But like Jim Nance, there's nobody. I don't know that we'll ever have somebody as good as Jim Nance. Funny,
Yeah.
yesterday at church, yesterday morning, our pastor gets up to greet everybody. He goes, "Hello, friends." He was wearing a green shirt, and there's probably about 10 of us in the church, that understood exactly what he was saying there. But I mean, they do an outstanding job. That John Legend music video at the beginning, right after Rory and Bryson teed off. I mean, I got me choked up. Jim Nance always asks the right questions at the right time in Butler Cabin. They just do a great job, and such limited commercial interruptions is fantastic.
Yeah, it's I'd like to see them each year because the club controls what shots CBS gets. And so and then part of that deal is that Augusta doesn't make as much money off the TV contract than they otherwise would because they're stipulating to CBS, we only want X amount minutes of commercials per hour, and here are the approved shots on every hole. So I do think it would be good, and I think if you follow the Masters Instagram account, they really had some awesome behind the scenes stuff this year that they don't show on CBS that I wish they would maybe add a little bit more into it in the future, like, some drone shots in the clubhouse,
Mm-hmm.
Rory going up to see his new champion's locker,
That was cool.
just maybe different angles on certain things because it's clear when you watch the coverage of the Masters that they're not using all the best shots they could get with the technology we have today. That's my
I love some of the stuff like you said though that they did on the app and on social media. Like on Saturday, they released a video, 5-minute video of every one of Bryson's shots for the entire day. Like, that's great. That's a cool thing to go and watch. Like, they should doing that on almost every player would be great. And I think you can do that on the app as you go and you click on the player and you can see all their shots. I like that. It's just, yeah, I hear what you're saying. Finding some ways to incorporate the newer technology into the Saturday and Sunday
Well,
broadcast
and
would be great.
I think it's important for Augusta to do two things. Show a little leg, meaning, entice the fans, a lot of whom may never get to come to the Masters or play the course, but also do that without giving up the allure and the history and the mystery. And because part of what makes Augusta cool is, we've all heard so many stories and rumors and things about it that, like, it's like being a kid again, where you're like, oh, did you know this or did you hear that? And like that was one of the really cool things about going to get to play it, was that, like, there was a lot of shit I didn't know. And I've been a huge golf fan for a long time. And, like, now having done it, I want to go back because there were some things I didn't get to do, like, that we didn't have time to do. Like, I want to go you can go look at Butler Cabin and the Eisenhower Cabin. They have a great steam room, a sauna, a hot tub and stuff. I didn't have time to go do that. We could have gone and toured the media center and other things. Like, so it's like, because we wanted to play so much golf, we didn't really get to go do some of the hidden secret things. Like, we
Mhm.
did get to do the dinner and the wine cellar tour, which was amazing. But, like, I almost wish we had like a third day
Sure, sure.
just to go tool around the campus and
Yeah,
putz around.
I think you said it best. Showing a little leg is perfect because we still want to have that the wandering. Like we need to wander a little bit. Casey and I talked about this when we were on our trip in Texas. It's like we've lost because so much information is at our fingertips. We've lost the ability to just sit and wonder what it's really like. And for years, you've wondered what Augusta National was like, and then you got to go there, and some of that was unveiled to you. Makes it all the more special, you getting to go there, right? I mean,
What?
if you could just go and look it up all online and see every little detail about Augusta National, then it doesn't make it nearly as special. But I do
There
agree,
was
like showing a little bit of leg, getting people a little
Yeah.
more enticed is a
There
good
was
way to put that.
there was a guy, one of the golf influencers, I don't know his name, but he had like 1 million views this weekend. And he said 10 things about Augusta National that you didn't know. And some of them were ones I did not know. So, like, at the champions dinner, you don't have to eat what the champion orders. So you're allowed to either get the meal of the club champion, or you're allowed to order off the menu, off the regular Augusta menu. So if you just want an Augusta filet or fried chicken or a taste of the Masters, you can just order that and not have to eat whatever they're serving. I didn't know that. I didn't know they get a gold medal for winning. I didn't know that their wife or their spouse gets a locket that opens 3 ways to wear. I did not know what else. Oh, the trophy they get is a miniature replica. The real one, which I've seen in the clubhouse, is like this big. It's massive. And I couldn't even fit my arms around it. And it sits on the table in there. So that's the real trophy, which they engrave. And then the one they get to take home is like a smaller, like, little version
And
of it.
doesn't the smaller one have like everybody that played in the Masters signature engraved on it or something like
That
that?
that I don't know. But the one thing they got wrong on that video, that I know they got wrong, is they said that if you win, you become an honorary member, and you do not. If you win, you have playing privileges going forward and practicing privileges, but you can't just come, get a cottage and bring 3 friends and have dinner and do the wine tour and do everything else. You can come, you can bring 1 guest. That guest may or may not be able to stay on property, and you kind of make a judgment call on how often you use it and how often you practice. But you're not a member. There are only 2 Masters champions in the history of the Masters. There are only two Masters champions in our lifetime that have been members, Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus. Now, if Tiger Woods or Fred Couples want to each fly in and bring a guest and practice and play, they can, but they can bring one guest and the guest doesn't really get to stay there. So it's not a member. Like, it's still TBD. Like, Tom Watson's not an Augusta member. So that's one thing that they got wrong on that big thing that went viral. But it's partially wrong, not totally wrong.
Well, this was supposed to be a 15-minute podcast. We're already 44. Typical for us. I just have two more quick things, and then we're going to get to the big announcement. We'll have Jordan pick. There was a lot of people that picked Rory in our contest, and Jordan's going to pick a winner for us. We can announce that at the end. Two quick last takes. One has really nothing to do with the Masters per se. I would go ahead and make a take that too many golfers are taking too much liberty with gimme putts. Look at Patrick Reed yesterday on 15, hits an amazing shot to 3 feet for birdie. It was probably inside the leather. I mean, this was a close putt. He misses it, misses the one coming back too. 3 putts from 3 feet. And I think so often there's guys out there playing and they're saying, I'm a 3 handicap, when in reality they're probably a 6 because they're taking a lot of putts. And I just want to encourage all of our listeners, look, if you want to play competitive tournaments that are handicapped, putt everything. Like, don't overestimate your abilities. You're only hurting yourself. And those putts are not always easy. I mean, I missed a 2-footer the other day because it had a little break in it, and the wind's blowing, and you get nervous over it and you miss it. Like, it can happen. Like, Patrick Reed is one of the best putters out there, and he 3-putted from 3 feet. So you, who are a 10 handicap, probably shouldn't take so much liberty with your putts. Just gonna throw that out there as a public service announcement.
Yeah, there's something to be said for playing it down and putting out. Like, when you don't do it for a while and it's all hitting giggles, it's gonna bite you in the ass when it matters, whether it's in a $20 Nassau or it's in a club tournament or just a bragging rights round with a friend. If you're not practicing it, don't expect it to be there under pressure. And I'll tell you what, like, I m- I had the last month or so I've played terribly. I played terribly in California. I played so in China. I played bad my last couple rounds at RTJ. And like, people were giving me putts and I'm like, you are being too generous because I do not feel confident over anything right now. Now, it'll turn around. I'll kick out of it. But yeah, man, you're 100% right. If you don't practice it, don't expect it to be there when it matters.
And my last point, something else that makes Augusta the greatest, the Masters, the greatest tournament, in my opinion, is if you are a champion, you get to play in that tournament for the rest of your life. It's not a 5-year, 10-year exemption. You get to play forever. And you end up with some awesome storylines. It's one of the reasons that I'm excited that Rory won, because 30 years from now, when Rory's 65 years old, he's still going to be playing at Augusta. And I think about 2 guys this weekend. Freddie Couples almost made the cut, shot under par in his first round, made an eagle on, I can't remember what hole it was, but he made an eagle, maybe on 17. I can't remember, but he makes an eagle. He had a 6 hybrid from 191 yards and hold it out. I mean, incredible shot. Misses the cut, I think, by 2. Bernard Longer, Friday, that was the story. He announced he's 67 years old, I believe, 68, something like that. And he announced at the beginning of the week that this was going to be his last Masters. And he had a putt on 18 to make the cut at 67 years old. And some of those little storylines that happen there are just as exciting to me as moving day. And I look forward to, hopefully Tiger gets back to a place where he can play, and we're going to see him when he's 60 plus years old, still playing at Augusta. And I hope Bernard Longer, as a 2-time Masters champion, I hope he gets to join Jack and Gary Player and Tom Watson one of these days for the honorary tee shot, which also always brings a tear to my eye every single year.
Yeah, I second all of that. I had a tingly moment. I think the tingly moment for me of the week, even more than yesterday, was Tom Watson hitting the opening tee shot. Tom Watson was my dad's favorite player. My dad would be 75, so they're the same age. And just seeing him hit that opening tee shot, like, the weird thing I kept thinking was, like, that's probably about how my dad would look right now. Like, that's kinda how his face would look, or his hair would look, or his swing. And, you know, just thinking about how he would have aged if he was still alive, like, it I don't know, it was just special, and it meant a lot to me.
Awesome stuff. Well, Jordan, do you have everybody that's you've put them? What's the process? Tell our listeners what the process is for how
Yeah.
you've picked this winner.
We took everyone that picked Rory and ran them through a random number generator.
And there were a lot of people that picked Rory. More people picked Rory than anybody else, right?
Yeah, just over 1/4.
Wow. Thank you to everybody that participated, and we're gonna have more contests like this throughout the year. So, Jordan, who is our winner of a dozen Titleist Pro V1 golf balls of their choice?
The winner is Dexter Hughes.
Dexter Hughes from the Mid-Ohio Valley, a plus 2 or 3 handicap, heck of a golfer. I'm actually going to see Dexter next month. So, Dexter, we'll be reaching out to you to see which golf balls you want. Thank you to everybody that participated. And congratulations to all of you that picked Rory McIlroy. And please continue. We're going to have more giveaways. And hey, as our audience grows, we're just going to do more and more giveaways. The more we grow the audience, the more we can invest back into you and give away great prizes like this. So, Rob, any last closing comments before we head off for our week?
Great Masters week, and now the world's eyes turn to the Golf and Politics Ryder Cup in August. I think that's the second biggest event of the year, even greater than the U.S. Open and
it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
It's going to be huge. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Rob, thank you, and everybody have a great week. And please, on the screen, you can see all of our social channels. Please follow us, engage with our content, subscribe on YouTube and anywhere you get your audio podcasts. Have a great week. Hey.